It's easy to see why. Looking at their case histories, both men filed dozens of harassment and nuisance lawsuits against each other, including unfounded claims of burglary and trespassing. Then, in 2011, Matthias Lee filed a civil complaint against Clark Howard to kiss his ass. Clark Howard responded with a motion to go... You can't actually do that with a male anatomy.
Okay, so maybe this isn't one unsaid then. Maybe this is just tit for tat revenge murders.
Sure. Clark Howard uses the barbed wire for murder number 1, and then the unsub gets him back by hanging him with it for murder number 2.
We need to dig deep in the family and friends then. That's our suspect pool.
They're going to be reluctant to talk to federal agents. It's not like we're very popular in this neck of the woods.
Like you and JJ see who you can get to come to the table. Reed, look into where the unsub or unsubs are getting this barbed wire. David Morgan, find out what you can about the victims and what else they might have been involved in that could have gotten them killed.
I can't quite tell you why those two boys hated each other. Just that they did.
According to one of Matthias Lee's restraining orders, he not only wanted Clark Howard kept 50 feet away, but the entire Howard family.
If the animosity extends to the families, how many potential suspects are we talking about?
That could be all of them. And could be none of them. Agent Hotchner, we see this all the time. A fella hates another fella, and then a brother gets involved, and then a cousin. Well, they get convinced that the reason they can't find work or can't find a woman or can't get off of Oxy is because of that other family.
So the mom and dad of the two victims have agreed to talk to us.
Who is that, Sissy Howard, Malachi Lee?
Yes, and Sissy would only come in on one condition. She told me that if she even smelled Malachi Lee, she would walk. And when I asked her what that specific smell was, she said dip and beard lice.
Can we arrange to have them come in separate entrances?
Sure can.
All right, so we'll have Mrs. Howard at 12 and Mr. Lee at 12:30.
Won't that risk them running into each other?
Exactly.
Cause of death is straightforward, thwack and whack, respectively.
Did the ME mark this on Clark Howard's hand?
What's that?
Burn marks. Chemical burns, it looks like.
Yeah, victim had burns on fingers and hands consistent with lie.
No, I see there are Matthias Lee's hands and wrists, too. It's almost like they were splashed on as if he was cooking with it or something.
Intuition tells me these boys were making meth.
And if they were trying to make each other's lives miserable, they probably weren't just making it. They were selling it.
I talked to 3 farmers who had 3 different strands of barbed wire stolen. None of them saw the thief, but they all swear it was the same person. The Mountain Man.
Should we have Garcia look into it as a pseudonym?
I think maybe we should hold off on that. The Mountain Man seems to be a confluence of several local legends. Some say he's part of the backwoods Appalachian population. Others say he's a Confederate holdout trying to start a second civil war to turn brother against brother. But the one thing they all could agree upon is if you go into a darkened bathroom and you chant, "I hate the Mountain Man" 3 times, he'll pop up behind you and kill you the next time you hear Leonard Skinner on the radio.
So you're sure that that from the farms matched the crime scene?
Yeah, barbed wire is actually quite specific, depending on what type of livestock you're trying to keep in and what type of rustlers you're trying to keep out. In this case, the concertina formation was exactly what was used to kill Clark Howard and Matthias Lee.
Except we have 2 murders, but you've talked to 3 farmers.
Yeah, wire number 3 hasn't been found yet.
That's not good.
No, it is not.
You gonna catch the snickle Fritz has done this to my baby?
Yes, ma'am.
You better.
Tell me, why did Clark and Matthias hate each other?
Don't rightly know. Some bad blood.
I wouldn't put him out if he was on fire, but I might light a cigarette off him. These are your son's words when he was questioned.
And my words to him were, Clark, if you so much as hurt a hair on Matthias Lee's head, I will smite you like Jeroboam. You don't even know who that is, do you?
2 Kings, Old Testament. He followed in succession after King David. God killed his son, his wife, and ultimately him.
So, you got some book learning. Well, good for you. I mean, you got the sense to catch my boy's killer. Because I can tell you think I'm lying to you. Well, let me tell you something, Mr. FBI man. My son is innocent of harming that Lee boy. Because his words to them cops, those were the words of stupidity and bravado. But my words to him, in my family, under my roof, my word is law. Now, we done?
Mr. Lee, please.
All right, will you answer one question?
Who do you think is behind Matthias' murder?
Mrs. Jarrow.
Agent Giroux.
Mrs. Jarrow. Was that ring on your finger some kind of lesbian thing? I know how y'all like to do it up there in D.C. You see, this here is a family matter. And we would appreciate it if the federal government just back off.
Okay. You're free to go. I'll escort you out of the station.
Oh, hold the elevator.
Where you parked, Mr. Lee? Malachi?
Me too. You visit your daddy's grave recently?
Is it yours?
Per my sweet JJ's request, I have combed through the lives of the Lee and the Howard fathers. Now, going backwards, there's nothing particularly compelling about either of their graves, but holy cow, everything before it is. So, gather around the campfire, my friends, because this one is quite the story. Okay, so the family forefathers, Carl Howard and Monroe Lee specifically, grew up in the Wheeling area circa Prohibition time, and they were competing moonshine runners.
Which started a family feud.
Did it ever? An exceptionally bloody one. Cousins, spouses, children, no one was spared.
How long did the violence last?
Until the passage of the 21st Amendment. Once firewater became legal, they lost their bloodthirstiness.
Until Clark and Matthias brought it back. The new underground market brought back old rivalries to the surface.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before the Howards attack the Lees again. I mean, they were basically announcing it to us in the elevator.
We've got to find a way to defuse the situation, or these families will tear each other apart.
That's excellent. That is excellent. And on behalf of my father, I want to thank you for doing business with us. Well, I know you have your choices for product in the Wheeling area, so the fact that you're favoring us...
No. You're not getting none.
Your eyeglasses are ready. You should notice a real
Look at
difference with
China
these.
eyeing
They are
that
Nikon
dish.
Eyes prescription eyeglass lenses. You get sharper,
Well,
clearer vision.
I think everybody's
And,
done
unlike
eating,
ordinary
and
lenses,
everybody's
Nikon
now
Eyes
poopered
lenses
out.
resist scratches or reduce glare.
So
Plus,
I
Walmart
am
offers
going
a
to
12-month
stop
replacement
this
guarantee.
video.
Break or damage them, and we repair or replace them at no charge.